Right now, we are witnessing history. President Trump has secured monumental $100 billion investment from Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company to build cutting edge chip factories right here in America. It's not just an economic win, it's a national security triumph that will reshape global technology power for decades. As Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick explained, President Trump has made it a fundamental objective to bring semiconductor chip manufacturing back home to America. While the previous administration talked about chips, Trump delivered results. Arizona Representative Eli Crane celebrated this as another big win for his state, where thousands of high paying jobs will soon transform local communities. And President Trump put it simply, without the chips and semiconductors, nothing runs today. America is taking back control of its technological future. And speaking of future, most men, they blame low testosterone on aging or genetics, but there is a shocking culprit hiding in plain sight. A healthy food is devastating your hormone levels daily. It's not junk food or sugar. Chips? Well, it's something far more unexpected that you've been told is good for you. Cutting the simple food could transform your energy, muscle growth, and motivation in weeks. I mean, look at these guns right here, right? Sculpt Nation has witnessed remarkable results with clients who eliminated it from their diets, experiencing dramatic improvements in body composition and vitality. Are you ready to discover what's killing your testosterone? Visit sculptnation.com/NNN, and this simple change could revolutionize how you feel every day. So watch the free video at sculptnation.com/NNN before this information disappears. Now, I'm joined in this segment of the Raw feed by JR Majewski. He is a former congressional candidate, and he's going to tell us about the economy. If there's one guy that knows about energy, this is the guy you want to talk to. So let's get into this. We've got this TSMC, $100 billion investment in America. And let's run this clip here. This is our beloved press secretary. I always love saying that, our beloved press secretary. Okay, let's listen to her. She was on Fox Business earlier today.
Through the grapevine, Caroline Levitt, I heard through the grapevine that you made $100 million from Taiwan Semiconductor. Tremendous investment. I know the company well, and I remember we had them relocate into the United States in the first term. $100 million isn't bad, Caroline Levitt.
$100 billion, Larry. Don't underestimate the numbers.
Did I say million? $100 billion. I'm sorry.
$100 billion with a B, and it's going to create 20 to 25,000 good-paying jobs at least. They are going to create a new manufacturing facility in the great state of Arizona. They are going to produce chips right here in the United States of America, which is not going to just create more jobs. It's also going to protect America's national security. As we know, chips are so important to our manufacturing industry. So it's a great day for the American public. And this racks up the total of foreign investments brought back home to $1.7 trillion in 1 month since President Trump took office. It took Joe Biden 4 years to get $1 trillion in private investments secured. So President Trump has already surpassed what Joe Biden did in 4 years in 1 month. And that's why he's the greatest president we've ever had. And America is open for business, and the world knows it.
America is open for business, JR.
Well, I think this is the first tech chip deal that Nancy Pelosi didn't have a stock option on. It just shows you that Trump isn't corrupt, right? But seriously, I think this is very important. It's integral for the U.S. Right now, China is just leading the way. And if you recall, during the Biden administration, how many of our motor vehicles were sitting in parking lots across the nation because they wouldn't operate without their chips?
Oh, yeah, the chip shortage. Yeah. All the used cars, the prices for used cars at the time was like going through the roof because, wow, I remember that, yeah.
And then when the chips somewhat came back under Biden, those chips were then placed in those vehicles, and there's a domino effect. So now some of our auto manufacturers are selling 2022 models for, floor prices, sometimes 65, 70% off MSRP. And it's because of the stagnation of the chips, how that affected supply and demand. And I think with this move, bringing a big chip manufacturer to Arizona, which is going to be a beltway, and having NVIDIA and the other chip makers, I forget the name, but they're opening manufacturing facilities here in the U.S. This is just going to fuel us on the wave of AI and all this other tech that we're trying to bring to market. This is a smart thing by the president.
Yeah, it's exciting to watch.
And it ties right in with the rare earth minerals and the deal with Ukraine.
Oh, it does?
Absolutely.
How so?
Well, a lot of the rare earth elements that we would use for these chips come from Ukraine. Wow. Ukraine is sitting on, I believe it's a $12 trillion worth of rare earth minerals. And
did you say 12 trillion?
And it's basically an untapped market because Ukraine hasn't. There's been no reason over the past decade why Ukraine would have done any exploratory or mining. And a mining operation sets. It's got like a 10-year runway until they actually start producing, if it's not expedited under the right controls. Wow. And Ukraine's just not developed enough where they can manage that. And so you've seen China overhaul and take, that's why the Uyghurs, that China wanted the Mongolians out, because that's where all the rare earth minerals are.
Wow, profound.
Chessboard of madness and corruption, man.
I'm learning everything. I'm learning something new every day here on the Next News Network, and that's thanks to JR being here. We got this. Here is our beloved press secretary again, talking about the tariffs. This is rapid response. The tariffs is now 20%. President Trump will not sit idly by as hundreds of thousands of Americans are murdered by this poison. This is a clip from February 4th. Here she is again.
Happens, we will provide. The president made it very clear with the 10% tariff on China that he is not going to allow China to continue to source and distribute deadly fentanyl into our country. That was the reason for this tariff. It was a retaliatory tariff on China for the last 4 years of their unprecedented distribution of fentanyl into our nation's borders. So when that call happens, we will provide a readout like we always do. The president.
And we're looking forward to more readouts. We've got this from Representative Dana Harshbarger, and this is huge for our nation's economy. 10 hours ago, promises made, promises kept. Quote tweeting Rapid Response 47. President Donald J. Trump announces $100 billion investment in TSMC in U.S. chips manufacturing
to build state-of-the-art. Today, Taiwan Semiconductor is announcing that they will be investing at least $100 billion in new capital in the United States over the next short period of time to build state-of-the-art semiconductor manufacturing facilities. I think mostly it's going to be in Arizona, which is what I understand, which is a great state. I like it because I won it, but I won most of them actually. But we won it, and we won it big. The most powerful AI chips in the world will be made right here in America. And it'll be a big percentage of the chips made by his company. But as you know, they're based mostly in Taiwan. And they're far and away the biggest. There's nobody even close. This $100 billion in new investment will go into building 5 cutting-edge fabrication facilities in the great state that we just discussed, Arizona, and will create thousands of jobs, many thousands of jobs. And the high-paying jobs. In total, today's announcement brings Taiwan Semiconductor investments to about $165 billion. They've started already. Today,
$100 billion, man. We're just getting started in this administration. Another big win for Arizona, Representative Eli Crane. The United States has been taken advantage of, President Trump saying. Let's hear what he has to say.
Look,
now this was at the press conference earlier today, the big announcement.
The United States has been taken advantage of for 40 years. The United States has been a laughingstock for years and years. That's why this gentleman is built in Taiwan instead of building here. It would have been better if he built here. If we had a president that knew what they were doing, and we had a lot of them very bad on trade. Look, I'm a huge fan of Ronald Reagan, but he was bad on trade, very bad on trade. He allowed a lot of people, a lot of businesses to be taken. So I say that with due respect because he was so great on other things, but he was bad on trade. We are setting records right now, records like nobody has ever seen before. When you have companies like this coming in and almost 40% of their company in one signature is going to be devoted to what he does, which is one of the most important businesses in the world. That's an unbelievable thing. When Apple now is going to start building all of their plants here, all because of what we've done in terms of, it's not because he likes me or they like me. They don't probably like me at all. I don't know. I think he likes me a little bit at least. But you know what? It's the incentive we created, or the negative incentive. I mean, it's going to be very costly for people to take advantage of this country. They can't come in and steal our money and steal our jobs and take our factories and take our businesses and expect not to be punished. And they're being punished by tariffs. It's a very powerful weapon that politicians haven't used because they were either dishonest, stupid, or paid off in some other form. And now we're using them. Look,
now we are using them. JR, real quick.
I love it. I mean, doesn't President Trump just speak like, I remember like he talks like the red-blooded Americans that we surround ourselves with. I mean, it's just common sense logic. And I don't know. I think the media is trying to misconstrue this. Companies aren't coming to America because they're trying to avoid tariffs. They're coming to America because they love the opportunity for growth here under the Trump administration.
Yeah.
And his executive orders will go into legislation. Legislation will then create greener pastures, which will become law. And they'll have these, barriers knocked down that have prevented growth. And they're here for the long term. You don't burn through $160 billion in a 4-year presidency. I mean, this is a long-term investment that they're making here.
So this investment doesn't just create jobs, it fundamentally alters America's position on the global technology race. With this deal and others in the pipeline, we will control nearly 40% of the world's semiconductor production, ending our dangerous dependence on foreign chip suppliers. Now, the national security implications cannot be overstated. For decades, we've watched our manufacturing base shipped overseas while politicians from both parties pocketed donations and looked the other way. But Trump understands what the establishment never did. A nation that can't produce its essential technology is not a sovereign nation at all. So tonight's question for you is this massive semiconductor investment the beginning of a new American industrial renaissance? And what other industries should we bring home next? And show your support for American manufacturing and the real news by going to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and grab a Next News Network hat.